my Wi-Fi is stable. I'm glad that it would be good because it's kind of frustrating to have these right in the middle of the practice. So I'll take what I can get with that cabinet early. So good morning again. Let's try this over. Same thing. If you have any sort of block or cushion to elevate your seat in a comfortable seating position, go ahead and grab that. Otherwise, you can really do this without any props. And all right, let's try this again. Retake. Go ahead and get started. Lying on your back, if that's comfortable. In a Shavasana supine position. And get started. We're going to do some spinal movements here, and be gentle with yourself. So if there's anything that doesn't work for you, doesn't feel right in my cueing, I'm just giving you an offering for what might feel good. And if that doesn't feel right for your body, go ahead and do anything different that you have to do, right? So nobody's watching you, there's no yoga police. Do what you have to do and listen to your body. And if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If it does, do it. All right? So really get comfortable here. You can even wrap yourself up in a blanket like my beautiful model and partner Elliot is doing. He's one of my favorite yoga models because he knows how to stay comfortable and how to modify, especially using props in a stiff body. All right. And now lying down, just notice how you're doing, how you're feeling. Just start tuning into your breath. See if you can just listen to your breath, not try to change it in any way. And if there's other stuff going on around you, just be aware of it, but also let that draw you into your breath even more, because you have to concentrate just a little bit more on your breath if there are distractions around. So let the external world help you focus instead of being a distraction. And if you've got lots of thoughts on your mind or it's racing, just let it happen. Work through its course. When you're ready, maybe encourage your mind to focus in on your breath. Maybe closing your eyes here. Releasing any tension in your face, around your eyes, in your mouth. Just take a big belly breath in here, through the nose if you can, and open mouth exhale. So take a big deep breath in, filling up the belly and the chest. All the way up. Open the mouth, let it go. You can even put your hand on your belly if you want to feel the breath movement. Filling up again, inhaling all the way. Expanding. Open mouth, let it go. One more like that. Inhaling fully and deeply. Open the mouth, let it go. And maybe put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart here. And we're going to try to take a 3-part breath. In and out through the nose, and seeing if you can have a really full breath in and maybe an even longer, slower exhale. So starting by inhaling into the belly, feeling the hand on the belly start to expand. And then start, once your belly is filled up as much as it can be, let that breath come into the chest, all the way up into almost the collarbones. You're expanding your lungs up into your chest, filling up all the way. And then slow exhale through the nose. So starting with the belly, inhaling, expanding the belly, and slowly filling the chest all the way up to the top of your collarbones, and then slow exhale. A few rounds at your own pace. You can add ujjayi breath if you want in the exhales, but I'm not going to cue it. And then when you're ready, on your next inhale, start to reach your arms up overhead. Try to reach the wall behind you. Stretching your feet out, flexed or pointed. Making the long line from your fingertips to your toe tips. Getting a nice stretch here. And then we're going to move into a banana asana shape here. We'll start walking your hands, palms face up or down, whatever's comfortable for you, over to the left. And you can walk your head over if you want, your chest over a little bit, until you're in a comfortable place, sort of bent over to the left side of your mat. And then start walking your feet over to the left side as well, maybe off your mat. You can keep your feet and your hands parallel, or you can cross your right foot over your left if you want a little bit of a deeper stretch. And you can grab your right wrist with your left hand, making sort of C shape, banana shape in your body. Doesn't matter where your gaze is, just look up, soft gaze, maybe closing the eyes. Maybe breathing deeply here, your 3-part breath. Seeing if you can relax, release your right shoulder down towards the ground, your right hip down towards the ground. Let your gravity do the work here. Just releasing 10% of the effort. One more big belly breath in, filling up into your chest, all the way up. And slowly exhale. And as you're ready to walk out of it, release your hands, release your feet. We'll take a nice long stretch here at the center. Reaching your hands and feet away from each other. Back through center. Noticing if one side's feeling different than the other, we'll go ahead and work it out on the other side. So start walking your hands over, maybe your head and shoulders come with over to the right side of your mat. And then maybe walking your feet over to the right side of your mat, maybe off your mat. Staying right here, or crossing over your left ankle on top of your right, grabbing your left wrist with your right hand, just for a little bit more weight and grounding here. Making a banana shape over to the right of your body. Breathing here, soft gaze, or close the eyes. And keep with that big, deep Belly breath in, expanding through the chest. As you exhale, can you soften your shoulder and your hip, letting gravity do some of the work? Breathing here in stillness, maybe quiet. One more breath here. And then start walking your hand and your feet back through center. And take a big, long stretch here, reaching from your fingertips overhead to your toe tips. Reaching long. And as you're ready, maybe start walking your feet towards your hips. And then draw those knees into your chest. And wrap your arms and your hands around your knees, your shins, under your legs, into your thighs, whatever feels good. Maybe give yourself a little hug, a little wiggle, roll, side to side, whatever feels good to your low back. Maybe drawing circles with your knees on the ceiling. I'm just going to come into a gentle spinal twist. Keeping your knees close to your chest, go ahead and draw your arms out to the side in line with your shoulders. And maybe if you don't have enough room, bending at the elbows so your palms face up, maybe in line with your head or a little bit above. Cactusing the arms. And then drawing those knees into your chest without your hands, go ahead and just let your legs fall over to the left. Any amount. If you can drop your left knee onto the ground, great. That right knee hovers over it. Maybe it reaches down, but don't force it. Try to release that right shoulder down to the ground if you can. And notice where the twist is. You can look over your right shoulder if you want. Or just looking up at the soft gaze. You can always release your feet down towards the bottom of your mat, or towards the top of your mat, I guess. Release the soles of your feet down if you feel like it's too much pressure having them up close towards your chest. Maybe one more breath here. Big breath, expanding 3 parts of the chest, belly. Releasing it slowly. You can use your hands to help guide your legs back up through center. Or if you want to engage the core slightly here, start to draw your knees back up through center and towards your chest. I'm getting ready for the other side. Drawing those knees in towards your chest. Resetting up the arms. Upper arms in line with the shoulders. Forearms in line with that, or bend at the elbow. Drawing those knees in, and then letting them fall over to the right. See if you can release your left shoulder down to the ground. Let your feet help find a placement. If they just want to slide down, let them slide down. If it feels good to keep them higher up, keep them higher up. This is a gentle spinal twist here. Easing into it. Letting gravity do the work. Maybe looking over your left shoulder if it feels alright. Or just looking up. Soft gaze or close the eyes. Still tuning into your breath here. Expanding through the belly and the chest on the inhale. And slowly releasing the breath on the exhale. See if on the exhale, you can release the breath starting from the chest and then into the belly, the reverse order of your inhale. And as you're ready, maybe using your hands or engaging the abdominal muscles here to draw your knees back up through center in towards your chest. Go ahead and use your hands now to hug your knees into your chest one more time, rocking side to side. And start rolling up and down your spine. We're going to come into a seated position. A cross-legged seated position here. Sitting up on a block or a cushion if you want to elevate your hips. Crossing at the ankles or the shins. Whatever feels good. And sitting up tall here. Maybe having your hands on your knees. Trying to stack your spine here. Letting your shoulders hover above your hips. And then your head in line with the rest of your spine. Finding that deep breath in again, starting from the belly. Into the chest. Slowly reversing out from the chest and then the belly. And then with your hands on your knees, we're going to do a few seated cat-cows here. As you inhale, start reaching your chest forward through your arms. You can even pull a little bit with your hands if that's all right for your hips. And maybe look up a little bit. Inhale here to expand in the chest. And then exhale, press your knees away as you round your back to the back of the room. Shifting your weight back in your seat. Just whatever feels good for you. Inhaling forward. And exhaling, rounding back. Waking up the spine here. And just notice if there's anywhere that's giving you a little bit of tension, or if it's bothering you in any way, if there's any tightness or tension. And just be gentle with yourself. If you feel any pain, ease off a little bit. Notice if anything feels really good. As you're ready, come back through stillness, back to a seated position. And then take your hands behind your butt here, and your fingertips can spin out, or they can be back, reaching towards your hips, or out to the side, whatever feels good, whatever feels natural. Just go ahead and place your hands back behind your hips, and lean back slightly here, maybe up on your fingertips, and start to reach your chest up to the sky, keeping your hips heavy here. Reaching your chest up from your sternum, finding a little mini back bend in your upper back. And you find a little bit of stability through your lower back, engaging the abdominal muscles slightly here. Reaching your chest up, maybe looking up if it's all right. Finding a little mini back bend here. Drawing your shoulder blades together behind you. Expanding through the chest and the collarbones. One big belly breath in here. And then release out of it. Go ahead and come back up to seated. Sitting up tall here. And then maybe reaching your arms up overhead. And then start to turn your torso over to the right. Maybe start looking over to the right. Drawing the twist here from your abdominal muscles. So drawing your belly button towards your spine. Finding that internal twist before adding your arms. Go ahead and release your left hand to your right knee and your right hand back behind you. Finding some lift here, some length in the spine is priority. The twist comes second. Finding some length and easing into the twist. Here. Inhaling for length. And exhaling to twist. You can look over your right shoulder or just wherever your gaze is comfortable. One more breath here. And then on your next inhale, start to draw your arms back up overhead. Coming back through center, looking straight ahead, and bring your hands to your knees here for a moment. We'll do a few more cat-cows to recenter. Inhaling your chest forward through your arms, and exhale, rounding your back. Just a few at your own pace. Inhaling for your seated cow, and exhaling, rounding back to your cat. Resetting here. Before we go into the other side, we'll go ahead and inhale your arms up overhead as you're ready, finding a long spine here. You can reach your arms all the way up, reaching those shoulders towards your ears. Doesn't matter. Maybe widening across the shoulders, but whatever feels most natural to you. And start looking over to the left, turning your chest over to the left, any amount. And then dropping your hand, your right hand to your left knee, your left hand back behind you. Finding the length in your spine first. Inhaling for length. And exhaling, releasing to the twist. Inhaling, expanding. And exhaling, releasing. One more breath here. Big belly breath in, expanding through the belly and the chest. All the way up. Releasing in reverse order from the chest down to the belly. And start looking forward. Start drawing your arms up, overhead, coming back through center. Release your hands to your knees one more time, just for 3 cat-cows at your own pace. Inhaling your chest forward, and exhaling round and back. 2 more like this at your own pace. As you're ready, inhaling your way back to center with a long spine here, seated tall. As you're ready, reaching your arms out and up overhead. Reaching your arms up, drawing those shoulders up to your ears, and then see if you can spin your palms out forward. Just drawing the shoulders away from the ears without dropping the arms any amount. And then start to release your right hand to the ground beside your hips. And start reaching that left arm even further up, starting to lateral stretch over to the right. Side stretch here. Reaching that left arm up and overhead. Any amount. You can walk your right fingertips out, or even bend the elbow down to the ground. Whatever feels good for you. Inhaling, reaching that left arm up overhead. Maybe looking up to the ceiling. Letting your left hip be heavy. One more big belly breath in. Slow exhale, release. And then slowly come out of it. Reaching both arms up to the sky. Maybe look up, maybe find a little mini back bend here in your upper back. And then coming back through center. Long spine here, sitting up tall. And go right into the other side. Release that left hand down to the ground by beside your hip. Reach that right arm up to the sky, as high as it can go. And then start tipping your body over to the left. Maybe walking those left fingertips out to the left, any amount. Reaching that right arm up and over your head. Nice lateral stretch here. Maybe bending the left elbow. Releasing it towards the ground. And go ahead and draw that left shoulder back. Don't let it hunch forward if you can. Draw that left shoulder back in line with your right. Reaching that right arm up and over. Finding your breath. Big full inhales. Slow exhales. One more breath here. And then as you inhale, start to reach both arms up. And then release your hands down by your hips. And then walk it. Switch the cross of your legs to the awkward way. And just sitting up tall here. Maybe folding forward over your legs here. Or just sitting up tall. Maybe going through a few seated cat-cows if folding forward isn't right for you. Maybe folding forward, reaching your chest towards the front of the room. Keeping a long spine here. And then walk your hands even more forward, popping your hips up back behind you and coming into all fours, hands and knees, or coming out of it in any way. We're going to meet in a tabletop position here, hands and knees. Maybe stacking your shoulders above your wrists and your hips above your knees. Your hand placement can be anywhere though. If you want to spin your fingers out or keep them forward, just doing what feels comfortable for you. And finding a long spine here. You broaden across the chest and reach your head forward, looking down at the ground and reaching your tailbone away from your head. Finding a long spine here. We're just going to go through a few regular cat-cows here. As you inhale, draw your chest forward through your arms, finding a little arch in your back. Inhale, expanding. And then exhale, round your back. Squeezing the air out. Inhaling, expanding. Belly drop slightly here. And exhale, squeeze it out. Rounding your back. Two more like this. Inhaling through your cow. Chest forward, hips up. Exhale, squeeze the air out as you round your back. Maybe shifting your hips back towards your heels slightly. Last one. Inhaling for cow. And exhaling for your cat. And inhaling and coming back through center. We're just going to do a little bit of a side crunch here. So start looking over your left shoulder at your left hip if you can, and start drawing that left shoulder towards the left hip here. Crunching a little bit on the left side, but expanding through the opposite, through the right side. And then inhale your way back through center, and start looking over your right shoulder to your right hip, and start reaching your right hip and shoulder together. Keeping a long spine if you can, a long spine in relation to the ground, finding a C shape here. And just doing that with your breath here, inhaling through center, and exhaling, look over your left shoulder. Inhaling through center, and over your right shoulder as you exhale. Inhaling through center, looking left on your exhale. Inhaling through center and looking right on your exhale. And then inhaling back through center and hold for a moment. And we're going to combine those two. If it doesn't seem right for you, you can always stick to the normal cat-cow again. But if you want to try, go ahead and look over your left shoulder, adding a little bit of that side crunch, and then let your belly start to fall down to the ground, chest forward, inhaling through cow. And then as you start to round, go ahead and look over your right shoulder and exhaling into your full cat position. I'm just doing normal cat-cow if this seems odd, but if you want to add a little bit of that side movement in your cat-cows, go ahead. A few breaths at your own pace. Inhaling for cow, exhaling for cat. Maybe adding some side movement in the middle. 2 more breaths on this side. And then switch. One more breath here. And inhaling back through center. We're going to sit back into a child's pose here. You can bring your toes to touch if you'd like. And start reaching your hips back before releasing your chest, maybe walking your hands forward. Really try to sit your butt towards your heels, and then start walking your hands forward to fold over your knees. Reaching those hands long on the mat. Pressing your hands into the ground so that your elbows reach off the mat. Take one big deep breath here. And slowly let it go. Start to look forward at your hands, and then shifting your weight up, hips up, tuck your toes under, and then press your legs towards straight, coming into downward facing dog. Finding a little bit of movement here if you'd like, pedaling the feet, swaying the hips, reaching your chest further through your arms, whatever feels good for you. Find a little bit of movement, loosening up those tight hammies, or finding stillness if you're feeling comfortable here. And see if you can find a little bit of balance if you pick up your right hand off the mat. You can always stay down facing dog if you can't find some balance. But if you can find balance with your right hand off the mat, reach your right hand underneath your body towards your left shin. And see if you can reach that right hand underneath your body to your left shin, maybe grabbing that left calf. Maybe looking under your left armpit for a little down dog twist here. Breathing. And then slowly coming back into it, replanting that right hand on the mat, holding your downward facing dog. We'll just go right to the other side, maybe finding a little balance, lifting your left hand off the mat. Maybe staying in downward facing dog. Maybe reaching that left arm underneath your body towards that right shin. Maybe looking under that right armpit. Maybe connecting with the right calf. Breathing here. Releasing the head. And then coming back through center, replant that left hand if you have it. Holding your downward facing dog here for just one more breath. And then go ahead and roll your spine forward. Maybe starting to roll your spine from the bottom, from your hips, to come into a plank position. Knees up or down. And then maybe starting from the shoulders here, rolling yourself back into downward facing dog. I'm just going to do that 3 times. See if you can find a little bit of rolling like a wave, like your hips are initiating the roll as you come through to plank. Pausing for a moment, and then seeing if you can start with your shoulders to roll yourself back into downward facing dog. Cracking my ankles. And then rolling through that. Just 2 more times at your own, maybe inhaling into plank. And then exhaling to downward facing. Last time. Inhale into plank. And exhale to downward facing. Pausing downward facing dog for a moment. Looking in between your hands. And slowly walk your feet up to meet your hands. Staying here in a forward fold. Maybe widening your stance here, feet about hips width distance. Seeing if you can make them parallel with each other. Whatever's a comfortable stance for you. Bending your knees here to get your belly and your thighs. And then you can work on engaging through the legs to find some straightness. Never have to be straight. We'll go ahead and grab opposite elbows here for a nice ragdoll position. Letting your arms help weigh your torso down. Big breath here. We'll go ahead and switch the cross of your arms. Opposite arm on top. It'll be awkward, but it might feel even better. Weighing your shoulders and your torso. One more big breath here. Exhale, let it go. Release your elbows, bring your hands to the ground, and start lifting your chest up. Inhaling to a half lift, fingertips to shins, your torso maybe parallel with the ground. We'll go ahead and inhale to stand all the way up. Finding your Tadasana pose here, pressing through your feet into the ground, engaging through the legs. Releasing a little bit of work in the butt muscles so you can draw your hip bones towards your low ribs and expanding through the chest here. Finding a really strong, steady stance. And maybe inhaling your arms out and up overhead. Maybe bending your knees to hinge at your hips and exhale, fold forward. Grabbing your block if you were using it, and place it in between your feet. And then place your right hand in between your feet, maybe on that block if you have it there, in between the toes of your feet. Bringing that block up towards the higher part, yeah. And planting your hand at your toe level or in front. And then go ahead and bend your right knee even more, planting your right hand on the ground. Start maybe reaching your left arm up to the sky, coming into a nice twist here, holding twist. Both knees can stay bent, but give that right knee a little extra bend so that you can come into this twist even deeper. If it doesn't feel good for your hand, you can just bring your hand to your hip, or you can reach it up to the sky. One more breath here. As you exhale, release. Bring your left hand back down to the ground. Maybe pedaling your knees here for a moment. Shake it out. And then we're going to set up right to the other side, planting that left hand, maybe in line with your toes, maybe in front. And then maybe starting this time with your right hand on your right hip. And then start to twist your chest over to the right, bending deeply in that left knee to allow for this twist. Seeing if you can find a long spine here. Maybe reaching that right arm to the sky. Inhale for length through the spine. And exhale, bend that left knee and find a nice twist. Go ahead and release that right hand back down to the ground as you exhale. Slowly coming out of it. You can take the block away if you were using it. You're going to inhale, half lift fingertips to shins. And then exhale, plant your hands and step your feet back to a plank position. And go ahead and lower those knees all the way to the ground. And bend your elbows, come all the way to the ground. Belly to the ground. Maybe walking those fingertips back in line with your nipples. And drawing those elbows together behind your back. Inhale to peel your chest up off the ground for your low cobra position here. And then exhale, release that work, maybe tucking the toes under. You can either draw through child's pose or press up back to plank position, shifting back to downward facing dog. As you're ready, meeting back in downward facing dog. And then start drawing your right knee into your chest. Here, coming up onto the tippy toes of your left foot. And look forward and plant that right foot in between your palms. Go ahead and spin that left heel to the ground. And then walk those left toes in slightly, so that the toes are angled in slightly towards the right front foot, and that the whole, both sides of your foot can be flat on the ground. Bending through that front right knee, you can start reaching that left arm up in line with your head, spinning yourself all the way up to Warrior Two position here. Finding Warrior Two, drawing that right butt, that right hip underneath you. Finding some length here just for one breath. Arms out to a T, and then keeping your legs where they are. let your left hand drop to your hip or your thigh as you start reaching that right arm up to the sky and maybe tipping yourself over for this reverse warrior. Breathing here, one big breath. And let your next inhale draw yourself back up through center, through warrior two. And bring your hands to your hips, straighten out that front left leg, pop the toes up off the mat, so you just on your heel, and spin the entire leg in, so that now you're facing the side, and your feet are relatively parallel with one another. Finding a nice wide-legged stance, whatever's comfortable for you, and maybe swaying the hips here a little bit if it feels all right. Just finding a little bit of movement here before we go into stillness. Standing up here, reaching your chest up, and then bend your knees slightly to hinge at your hips and start folding forward. You can go ahead and grab your block on your way down if you're using it. And then release the fingertips down to the ground, maybe onto a block. And then staying in this half lift position, planting that right hand underneath your face on the block or on the ground. And then start to reach that left arm up to the sky. And you can allow your hips to shift here. You can bend through your left knee slightly to really find some length through the spine and find a nice deep twist here. You might find a little groin stretch on the right side. Just make sure it's not too intense. Inhaling for some length, and exhaling to twist. And then bring your left hand back to the ground or the block. Resetting up for the other side. Planting your left hand underneath your face on the block or on the ground. And then start to inhale your right arm up to the sky. You can bend in your right or left leg, in your right leg. Yeah, to find a nice groin stretch through the left leg here. See if you can draw your shoulders away from each other. One big breath in here. And then exhale, release that right hand back to the ground or the block. Coming back through center. Then go ahead and stay half lifted. Bring your hands to your hips. Bend your knees slightly to come all the way back through standing. Go ahead and spin the entire left leg out to the left. Just setting up for warrior two on the other side. Bending through that left knee, drawing that left butt underneath you. Reaching your arms out to a T in line with your shoulders. Finding a nice warrior two shape here, just for one breath. And then releasing that right hand to your hip or to your thigh. And then start reaching that left arm up to the sky, maybe overhead. Finding a reverse warrior here, just for one breath. And then inhale your way back through warrior two. And then bring your hands to your hips, straightening out that left leg, popping up onto the heel of that left leg, and then spinning the entire leg back forward to your wide-legged stance here. Breathing and reaching your chest up. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, bend your knees slightly to come into this forward fold. You can stop at the half lift, or you can just release into this fold any amount. Breathing here. Let your head hang heavy, shake it yes and no. One more big breath here. And then inhale your way back up through center to your half lift position. Bringing your hands to your hips, bending your knees slightly, take them all the way up through standing. Maybe turning the right leg out to the right, just so you can plant your hands on either side of your right foot. And stepping that right foot back to meet the left. Coming to your plank, knees up or down, and flowing through your version of your vinyasa. Knees up or down, bringing your belly to the ground or hovering. Inhaling into your low cobra if you're feeling it. Inhaling into upward facing dog, just the hand and the feet on the ground. And then exhale. Shift your way back into downward facing dog. Take one big breath here. And then look forward in between your hands. And then just bring your right foot and your left foot up through center. Maybe crossing at the knees and flopping back on your butt. And then keep your right leg bent and straighten out your left leg out in front of you. Flexing through the foot and drawing that right knee in. Go ahead and drag the right foot all the way in so that your right foot is in line with your left thigh, if that's all right. And then go ahead and let that right knee fall out to the right. So you're stamping the sole of your right foot on your inner left thigh. And then here, sitting up tall, flexing through that left foot, drawing your torso over your left leg. You can stay here, or if you like, finding that long spine, start walking your hands on either side of your left leg, folding forward over that left leg any amount. Finding a long spine here. If you can grab the foot, go for it. If you can't, don't. Take one more breath here to find this fold with a long spine. And then go ahead and round into it. Release all the work. Just round into this fold. Letting your spine relax here for a moment. And then on your next inhale, coming back up, walking your hands back up to your hips. And go ahead and plant your left hand back behind your left hip. Fingers can stay pointing out, or whatever is a natural stance for your hand. We're going to come into like a rock star pose to stretch out the front of this left hip. So your left foot and your right knee are going to make contact with the ground as you press into this left hand. And use that right arm to help reach you up to the sky, reaching your hips up off the ground. Inhaling here, reaching your hips up. And then exhale, release your hips back down. We'll do that just with the other hand, keeping your leg variation where it is. Go ahead and reach your right hand back behind your right hip. Let's try it this way. And inhaling your hips up off the ground, hitting the foot make contact. Inhale, reaching up, maybe arm overhead. Left arm this time, reaching towards the sky. And then exhale, release your butt back down to the ground. And you just switch your legs. Reach your right leg out long. Bring your left knee into your chest. Walk that left foot up to the right thigh. And then let your left knee fall out to the left. So the sole of the left foot is pressing into the inner right thigh. And then see if you can lengthen your spine here, seated tall. See if you can angle your torso over that right leg, keeping a long spine, hinging at your hips, maybe folding forward here, walking your hands forward on either side of that leg, stopping wherever, holding that long spine for another breath. And then once you feel like you've folded as far as you can with a long spine, go ahead and round it, release it, folding forward, releasing your head, hang heavy. And one big belly breath in, expanding through the chest. Slow exhale. Sitting up tall here, reach your right hand back behind your right hip. We'll do the awkward rock star before the other way. So pressing into your right hand, back behind your right hip. Inhaling your hips up. Maybe reaching that left arm up. Breathing here for a moment. And then releasing your hips back down to the ground. And then switch your left hand back behind your left hip. Reaching that right arm up to the sky. Inhaling your hips up off the ground. Knee and foot touches down. And then exhale, release your hips back down to the ground. Go ahead and straighten out both legs. And go ahead and lay down in your Shavasana. You can always take Shavasana on your side or your stomach, or just release down onto your back. And if you want to do anything, do anything. Draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug. Maybe a twist, maybe some movement. Whatever you need to do. So come into stillness here. Maybe releasing the arms away from the body. Maybe releasing your legs further apart. Finding some stillness here. And just release the control you had over your breath. Let it come naturally. Softening the muscles around your mouth, unclenching the jaw. Releasing the muscles around your eyes. And just remember to try to be as patient and kind with yourself as you are with kids, or dogs, or cats, or any other thing that you are very gentle and compassionate with. And just find that gentleness with yourself. Treat yourself as you would the cutest, best puppy. You can always stay here as long as you need. But if you're ready, start wiggling the fingers and toes. elbows, wrists, ankles. Start bringing your knees into your chest. And then maybe falling over to one side and pressing yourself up. Or just rocking and rolling. We'll meet in a seated position here. Maybe keeping the eyes closed in your seated position. Just sitting up tall, maybe bringing your palms together, maybe giving them a little rub, finding some friction, some warmth here, and then pressing one palm over your chest, over your heart, and then pressing the other palm over top of that. Really sealing in that warmth you created. And then from the warmth and energy within me, I honor and respect the warmth and energy in you. In other words, namaste. And thank you for tuning in. Tuesday morning fun. Thank you, beautiful mom.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in virtually. Sorry the stream cut out from the beginning, but I'm glad we got it to work. As always, these online classes are free, but by donation. If you have some donations you're willing to give, 60% of those donations I give on to local businesses to let us use the space and to different charities each week. So paying it forward with yoga. And namaste in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. That would be via Venmo for those donations at Evweezer, just like the username on here. And if you'd like to know more, I will put a link to my website in the chat, where I have this weekly yoga class and then a twice weekly meditation with other yoga teachers. We all take turns and do different meditations twice a week, Monday and Friday. So that's on Zoom and that's all free. So if you're interested in any of that, maybe I'll see you later. Otherwise, have a great day.